This video was made possible by Skillshare. If you would like to make the best out of the time we have right now staying at home, I wouldn't recommend you guys nothing better than Skillshare. I truly believe that one of the best things that we can do right now is making use of the time we have to acquire new skills. Here on Skillshare, they have classes on almost every single topic you can imagine, ranging from design, coding, product management, time management, anything you can think of. But I personally would recommend you guys to take this Adobe XD class. It's super interesting, and if you're a mobile developer, most of the time you'll need to create first the concept UI for your projects before you build the project. So if you want to be able to have that flexibility of designing a product, showing it to your client, getting it approved, and then building the project, this Adobe XD class would be perfect for you. Skillshare will cost you only $10 a month on the annual subscription. But I have a very good news for you. The first 1,000 people to sign up using the link in the description will get 2 months for free. So waste no more time, use the link in the description to sign up, and by doing so, you'll be supporting the channel.
Hello beautiful people, welcome back to the channel. First of all, I hope you are all staying at home and staying safe. On this video we are going to have a lot of good news. As you guys may or may not know, we were supposed to have our first live stream section last Friday, but it was impossible because my internet connection was super bad. But I had to talk with my internet provider and we have that solved, and we are going to have our live stream section this week. On this video, I have a gift for you guys. Since we are all staying at home, I will be publishing some content from my food delivery app, Flutter food delivery app, on my website. I'll be publishing 1 episode per week here on YouTube so that you guys can start learning what I'm doing there. And don't worry, I'll be linking the source code of the complete project here on the description of this video. If you're already enrolled to the course, don't worry as well. I will be still publishing more content there, so you're not going to be affected with this. See you guys inside.
Hello beautiful people. Well, before you start watching the video, I would like to talk about a few points I think are extremely important. Throughout the course, the project UI aspect is going to change a lot. For the first videos, you are going to be building something that doesn't look very much with what we have on the screen, but it's alright because I'll be iterating throughout the project and you are going to be able to see that on future videos. For now, for the moment, this is the UI I chose to go with, which I think is simple and looks like most of the food apps you would see today. So I'm just making this quick note to let you guys know, because probably you are going to start building something that you'll think that it's different, but actually it's not different. It's the same app, and on future videos we are going to do modifications so that we be on the same stage I'm at right now. I hope you guys are excited and enjoy the video.
Hello beautiful people. So here we will start setting up our project, and here's where every single Flutter project starts from. And don't worry, if you're on Windows and using Android, it's not going to make any difference. It's still fine. So the very first thing you have to do while building your project, even way before you worry about what the project is going to be about, is setting up your project structure, right? And I usually do something. I have a folder created, and I use that folder for every single one of my projects. And this is the folder. It's called source, src for source. I have screens, widgets, models, and providers. For this particular course, we are probably not going to be using providers and models, or maybe we can use models, but this is more related to the backend structure. But anyways, I would encourage you guys to have a folder where you have these 4 folders inside of the main folder, which is source, screens, widgets, models, and providers. And we will be adding more folders as we go if necessary. But the thing I do is I come here and I just copy. I go back to Android Studio where the project is going to start. Now we only have main, no issue, and we are going to paste that. So it's good to have a kind of a pattern for all of your projects, something that you're going to follow. It's going to make your life easier even when it comes to troubleshooting some bugs, right? So this is the basic structure we have. Now, our goal for this section or this part of the course is to build this project, and this is basically what we're trying to do on this course. We are going from image, from a concept to an app, and the best approach is to break everything down into small steps. It makes it even more easier, right? So our first goal will be to complete the home screen, which is the first screen here, and then we're going to go move to the second and then the last one, right? So with that out of the way, we need to import these assets, which cannot I didn't get exactly the same images, but as long as you get good images like these ones, it's going to be completely fine. So this was a small introduction on the project setup, and for the next video we'll start importing the assets like the images, and we will start building our project step by step while I explain to you guys the thought process and how to go about going from image to Flutter app. Hello beautiful people, let us start importing our project assets or images and then start building our app. I have here on my desktop a folder called images, and these are the different images that we're going to use inside of our app. Don't worry, this file will be available, this folder will be available for download, so don't worry about that. Now I just have to copy this thing and come here to food app course and paste it. Now of course I would have to go to the pubspec file and import the assets. Let me zoom in a bit. Asset images, and that's all you have to do to import your images. Now let us start working with the looks of the app. Okay, let's go to our main, and I can even put this on full screen for now to make it easier for you guys to see it. Get rid of these comments. We know that the main theme of our app, or the app we're trying to build, is red. That's why we're going to set red as a primary color, and I can delete all of this. Now if we go to our source screens, we need a new one, so we are going to generate this new Dart file, and we are going to call that home, because that's exactly what we're trying to build. So I will import Flutter material, then we create a stateful class and call it home. Inside of home, let us return a scaffold widget, and for the background color of this widget we are going to set the colors as white, but there's something else we can do. Let's create another file, and there are a lot of ways to go about doing this. I'll create comments, and here I'll just store things that we commonly use, like colors, for example. So import, we're going to import Flutter material, and here we are going to set this as constants. Red, at least for the colors we are most likely to use, and you are going to see the advantage of doing this in a bit. Oops. Okay, so we want one for the red, white, black, gray. Most of the time these are the colors we are going to be using, at least for this particular project. So black and white. Sure. Now you will be able to see the advantage of doing that, because here you just have to write white instead of writing colors dot blah blah blah. You just write white. Going back to our main, we deleted this widget so it doesn't exist anymore. From our home page we are going to call home, import that, and that's all that we need to do. And if we run our app again, this is white, exactly how we want it. Food app is going to be the title, and here we want our we want to remove this banner here. So want the bug show check mode banner, and we're going to set that to false, and this is going to be removed. Perfect. So we have our white space, white screen here to start building our app upon. So from the next video we'll start building our app step by step. Well, now let's start putting our components of the app together, and now we are going to start with the home page or home screen. That's more correct. Let's take a look at the image we have and the thought process you usually have to go through to build this kind of stuff. If you see this, on the top level we have a list view, because all of these items are supposed to be scrollable to the top, right? And inside of that we have this top navigation section, we have the search, we have the categories and all. And if you take a look at the categories, you can see that they are scrollable in horizontal fashion, right? So for you to be able to build your Flutter app from sketches or images, the first advice would be to break everything down into small until the smallest components. And we are going to do that here on our top navigation bar. We know that the top level widget is a list view, and here it's clear that we can use a row and a stack for this item and this red dot here. So let's take that into action. I already have here our list view, right? And I'll start by adding text to it. what would you like to eat? But if you see, this text is not quite what we have there, so we may need to add some style to that as well. And on our text style, we only going to change our size to something like 18. Better now. We will add another widget. We will wrap up our list view, with a widget called Safe Area widget. And this is super useful mainly when you're using stacks, because this will avoid the components of the app to come under the information that usually is shown on the top bar on the mobile device. Here it's hard to see, but we can use for safety reasons, right? Obviously we would have to add padding to our text. Sweet. And now we are going to wrap this component inside of a row. Apparently nothing will change, but that's fine. Now we will use another widget called icon button, and for the button we're going to use icons dot notification none, and we're providing an empty method here. Cool. But you can still see that frankly this is not exactly what we have there. So we will have to add main axis alignment, space between. And what space between does, it will separate the components of the row. It will create a space between the component. So it will push each one of them to this for the first extreme here, the beginning of the screen, and this to the end of the screen. Right? But this is not all, because we will have now to wrap. And by the way, to do this, you can click on this bulb, or else you just press Alt Enter, and then we are going to wrap this using a stack. I'll put it on full screen to make it easier for you guys to see. And inside of this stack we are going to use a container, and for the height of the container we're going to give 10, the width of the container we're going to give 10 as well. And finally we will decorate this container, and to decorate the container we use box decoration, where I will set the color to red. If I control save this, this is what we have. Sorry, but since we want a round container, we'll use box border radius circular to 20. Sorry. And finally, this container, or this red dot, is not positioned properly. So there's a widget that's very handy, mainly when you're working with stacks, which is called the position widget. Positioned widget, because here we can set that top will give the distance from the top, and from the right we'll give 10. Then we have something like this. We can give 12, 12. Then we have something like this. And if we go back to our image, this is our top navigation section, and it's built and it's done. sorry, I'm so sorry. On our next video, we will start building other parts of the screen. See you on the next one. For this particular lecture, we are going to build this search box here, right? Let's go about seeing how we do that from a Flutter perspective. The very first thing to do is to add a bit of space between the top navigation and the search box. So I will use the sized box for that. And then we are going to need a container. Let's provide a decoration for our container, and we will use box decoration to custom decorate our container. We'll set our color to white, and then oops, it's not a shape what we want, but it's shadow, box shadow, which takes a list of elements of the type box shadow, where we can define the color to be gray. And if you are having issues here, just come to our command file and remove the color type and only leave const and red and leave it like this. Okay, and then we are going to set the offset of our shadow to the right, to the x axis. We're going to give it 1, on y axis 1 as well, and the radius of the blur, let's give it something like 4. Okay, our decoration is done. Let's go to our child. We are going to use a list child here, and for the trailing of the list tile we are going to use icon. Oops. We are going to use our search icon. If we control save this, we're going to have something like this, and actually here is not trailing but it's leading because we want this here on the left side. Let's add padding to our container. Perfect. And the color of our icon should be red. We are going to do the same thing for the trailing, and the icon is going to be filter list. Sorry. And then we are going to add our title, which is going to be text field decoration. Input decoration is how we decorate our text field. We are going to set the hint text, to find food and find food in restaurants. Okay, and to fix this underlined stuff we just have to set our border to input border dot none. Boom, and just like that we have replicated our search box. Here you have it, and you would start searching for stuff here. Anyways, this one was a very quick one. See you guys on the next one, where we will start working with the categories. Welcome back to the course. On this particular video we are going to focus on something that I call, and it's called that way, code reusability. And we want to use that to avoid repeating the same pieces of code, basically. For example, for multiple times we will need to come here and define the text, styles related to the text. So what are we going to do first of all is, let me open up here. We will come to the widgets and let's create a file, and this is super important for you to use on your project because it's going to save you a lot of time. We are going to create a widget called title. So the class is called title. We're going to import we are going to import a Flutter material package. Good. And it's going to be a stateless. We are going to call it title. Now here inside of title, we are going to set couple properties like final string text, and you are going to understand in a bit why are we doing this. What's the other property that we usually use for our text? Inside of style is font size. We are going to define font size as an integer. Final int size. Size. Final color. What else do we need? Final font weight. Okay. Now we need to initialize this. We need to create a constructor that's going to have all of these values. Perfect. And we will make them positional parameters. The text has to be required, and the rest is optional. Now we are going to return a text widget, and for the first part we are going to return text, and for the style text style. Font size is going to be equal to size. Font size is double, so okay, no issue. We're going to set that as double. So you guys told me that at a certain point on the video just went blank, and I'm here to explain to you guys what happened after the previous video went blank. And if you didn't see that, probably is because the error is with the video is already fixed. But here's the thing that happened. We were creating a widget called title, but first of all I had to rename from title to custom text because I had couple conflicts using the name title for this widget, because there's a default widget called title as well. So instead of naming that title, change it to custom text. This is going to be the name of the widget we are creating. The variables we are taking are string for the text, double for the size has to be double, color, and the font weight, right? And we are going to call them here on this constructor, and they are going to be named parameters. The only thing that it's required is the text, and then the rest can be null. And then we are going to return a text widget having text. Text is basically the message that's going to be displayed to the user. And then for the style, we will set font size is equal to size. And these two symbols basically mean that if this size variable is null, sorry, we are going to use the default size of 16. And for the color, it's the same thing. If the default color is null, we are going to use black as the color. Font weight, if the weight is null, we are going to use font weight normal. And just if you see here, we just used black because we already created this file here in commons.dart. So we just call black, and if you click on this, it's going to actually come and show you what black means. Black is basically colors.black. And now let me open the home screen so that you guys can see this in action. Opening the home screen. For example, here on what are you looking for, we just made use of the custom text widget. And if you see, we just passed two parameters, the text, which is the message that's going to be displayed, this one, and the size, which is 18. Now, everything you have to do now is basically go to the home screen where you use the text widget and replace that with this new widget called the custom text. And if you want to display a message, you will set this variable called text, which is going to be the message to be displayed, to be what are you looking for, and the size, it's going to be 18. Really hope you guys understood this, and if you didn't, feel free to leave a comment below, or reach out to me and I will explain it as many times as required. Welcome back to the course. For this particular video, we are going to build this section here for the categories. Okay, let's get straight into it. Well, here we have our horizontal list view builder. Probably we'll need to separate this into different widget, but just to visualize it, to visualize it. I'm sorry about that. Just to visualize it, I will have to build. I'll start building the components of that horizontal list view here on the screen. And what I'm trying to say is we will do the following. Maybe it would be very good if we add here a size box of a height 5, and I do use size box a lot indeed. Now, since that's a horizontal list view, we'll need to insert that inside of a container, and we must specify a height, and I'll give that a height of 120. We'll provide a column. If we take a look here, we have this section here with the image, and this section here where we have the name of the category. That's why I'm using a column. Inside of this column, I'm going to use a container, and let's decorate this container. But since the decoration is going to be almost the same, I'll just come here and copy this. So going back to the container, here's the decoration we have. I'm going to set this color to red, 50. What else are we going to do here is we need to add a child. Wait a second. Here we need to add a child widget, and it's going to be image asset, and it's going to be from images. And let's go to the list of available images. I think we have some images missing here. Yes, we do. But that's not a big deal. We can just go to our desktop, and here's the complete list of images. So let me copy this, go back to our project. For now I'll just delete this. Hopefully I don't run into any kind of problem, but I'll paste that again. So we have a complete set of images now, and just for safety reasons I'll go to our pub spec and do a pubs package get. Perfect. Going back to our home, the image we are going to use here, it can be anything. Let's start with salad.png. And what happens when I try to run this? Okay, our image is too big. That's why we're having that issue there. Height 60. Let's try to see what is going to happen. Width, actually that's not height. 50. Obviously we are going to need to have our image asset wrapped inside of a padding. So for the padding, have edge insets all. Let's start with 4. And for the child, we're going to provide our widget here. Okay, way more better. Something's up with our shadow here. Boom, here we have it. Let's try to go wild with this. Like put it 100. Okay, that's way too red. I'll leave it at 50. Okay, sure. Now we need this to be inside of a list view. But even before we do that, there are still a couple things to arrange here. Set the height of our size box. Everything still works fine. And we're going to use our custom text here. And for the custom text, we are going to set salad. Maybe I need to import this. No, it's imported. We need to. Okay, let's see what happens. This is slightly bigger than we want it to be, but we can change that, setting our size to 16. And now you can see the beauty and the magic of our custom text widget. Okay, here we have it. We can still reduce the size of this. Perfect. Now we have built our widget here. The only thing that's left for us to do now is to add padding to the column. Sure. And then wrap everything up inside of our list view builder. It's going to take a parameter called the item builder, and the item builder is going to take the context and an index. Then it's going to return a widget. And item count to say how many times we want to repeat this. Let's place 5, for example. And the scroll direction, axis horizontal. Boom, we have it. Set any number you want. Let's suppose we want to test with 7.